But I'm very happy to have our friend Jim Barry with the Consumer Electronics Association in. And how have you been?
I'm very good, John. Always nice to be with you.
Yeah.
And nice to be in on Big Monday.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's an honor.
The Big Monday show.
Big Monday show.
Well,
And,
we were glad you called because
Yeah.
it's always fun to. It's getting harder and harder for me to keep up with all this stuff.
well, it's getting harder for everyone if you try to actually figure out what all this stuff is doing that we're using now. And
Yeah.
just about everyone uses some consumer electronics device several times during the day. We have a lot of research on that now. And we're going to buy a couple hundred billion dollars worth of consumer electronics, over $200 billion in the U.S. again this year. It continues to grow. Everything from televisions to smartphones and tablets and laptop computers and just about everything else that we use in our homes, in our cars, or just about anywhere. So the good news is this stuff is getting easier to use. So it's kind of like automobiles.
Yeah.
100 years ago, you pretty much had to be a mechanic to drive a car, and you had to know how to get out and crank it and all the rest of that. Now, I would say that most of the people listening, many of them in the cars, wouldn't know what's going on underneath the hood, but they know how to turn it on and how to do different things to get where you're going with it. And that's getting more and more true of consumer electronics, too. You really don't have to, 40 years ago, you really had to know computer programming language and
Right.
stuff. Don't need to know any of that anymore. And with things like touch screens, voice control, all of these different things, it's getting easier and easier.
Well, and you talked about cars, and it's really being integrated into cars now too.
We at this year's International CES in Las Vegas in January. Every year we have. This year we had 160,000 people from all over the world. And this is a trade show, so it's not open to the public. So these are something like 40,000 people from other parts of the world. And we joked, my other old-time buddies and I that have been going to the show for 30 years or more, we went to a CES and an auto show broke out because 9 of the top automakers were there. And these weren't like, we put a car over in the corner here. These were huge auto show type displays. And incidentally, this was the week before the big Detroit auto show. So it was absolutely spectacular because, and as a matter of fact, the chairman of Audi gave one of the keynote speeches, Rupert Stadler, and he called the automobile the platform for consumer electronics for the 21st century. So they were filled, we used to call it car stereo, and that's what you had in it. You had good radio and stereo and 8 tracks and cassettes and CDs. Now you have great entertainment, audio and video. You have electronics for navigation. You have electronics for security. You have electronics for sensors. You've got the internet. You put all these things together, and what you get are automobiles that drive themselves. We had a half a dozen electric cars there and electric motorcycles. Was kind of predicting that in the next decade, meaning in the 2020s, that you'll see a lot more self-driving cars on the roads.
Pretty amazing.
We'll see. That is amazing. I think, you already see on the news every now and then the Google ones, and they're testing them.
Yeah.
I think maybe what we'll see early on are kind of a land-based, on highways, on superhighways, automatic pilot kind of thing. You already have that. You buy a new car, you're going to have a lot of technology in it and probably the kind of sensors that'll tell you if you're drifting into the wrong lane. All of those things are really precursors of these self-driving automobiles.
Absolutely. We're talking to Jim Barry with the Consumer Electronics Association. And let's take a look at the toys you brought. You always bring some new stuff, some new technologies.
While we're talking about automobiles, I brought along a loudspeaker. You may be able to hear my pal Garth Brooks here.
Yeah.
This is
Don't ever hear me complain, 'cause I got
So
This looks like a very tall coffee mug.
it does.
It's called the Spee Cup. And these people introduced this at the Consumer Electronics Show in January. This is some folks out of St. Louis, American made, really nice. And it is a wireless Bluetooth speaker. So I have music on my iPhone or any other smartphone or tablet, and Bluetooth has gotten better and better and better. And I mentioned a lot of people, you buy a new car now, you either have it standard or you have an option to get Bluetooth wireless for your phone, and your phone automatically hooks up to that.
Yeah.
But a lot of us have a car we already like, or
Right.
we're not ready to buy a new car. But if you bought a car in the last 15 years, I bet you it's got cup holders in it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what this is designed to fit into. It looks like a cup. It slits right into the coffee cup holder. And it can use gesture controls or hand controls, so I can just hit it. And you can jump into the, if you get a phone call, you can stop the music and it'll automatically take your phone call hands-free. That's another whole area. You know, there's more and more electronics in the car. Rule number one, do not text and drive. Do not text and
Right.
drive. Can I say that again?
You
do
can.
not text and drive. But you can, you know, if you're driving a vehicle, a couple thousand pounds of metal, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the wheels, pay attention to what you're doing. We have a website called Safe Drivers, digitaldriver.org, and lots of information about how all this electronics can actually help us make us safer by giving people information while they're driving or for accidents and all
Right.
the rest of that kind of stuff. So, but don't text and drive.
No, do not do that. What's up with the tablets?
Well, I brought a couple of tablets because people ask about those a lot. I just got asked the other day, people saying, well, you know, would a tablet be a good gift for mom for Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Well, actually it would, you know,
Yeah.
tablets and smartphones. And, you know, women buy more than half of all this stuff. It used to be, you know, that people say, oh, this is toys for boys. Well, it is, but it's women buy more than half of this. But I brought a couple only because this one is this is the iPad. This is the new iPad, the iPad Air, which is very thin and very light. Although I have it in a really nice case here, which is the from Belkin. It's one of these, again, Bluetooth wireless case. So it flattens out, opens up, has a little stand on it, has a keyboard. So it's very thin and light, even in a case like this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the iPad Air. Faster, still the 10-inch screen. iPad still is the standard a lot of people judge all other tablets by. I also brought a new one from Dell here. This is the Dell Venue 8. This is an 8-inch screen.
Okay.
And this, you'll see, is using Windows 8. So this is the new Microsoft version of tablets. They also have their Surface, the Microsoft Surface, and the Surface Pro. Windows 8, they've been out for about 2 years, but they finally got it right. And a lot more people, you know, a lot of folks forget that more than 90% of us use Windows at work
Yeah.
or on our computers at home. So this now is an opportunity for Microsoft and the whole Windows area with companies like Dell and HP and all the other people who use Windows to make some inroads in this tablet market. So these are two of the choices, and it also indicates different screen sizes, 10-inch, 8-inch. You've got the 7-inch ones, including the Kindle Fire. The new HDX version of that is terrific. That gets into the whole Amazon buying world. So you have different, and that uses the Google Android operating system. So
Right.
you've got Androids, you've got Apple, you have Windows, you have different screen sizes. Those are the different operating systems, and you have different price ranges, starting well under $200 now, up to about $800 or $900 if you want one with tons of memory and the ability to get on the internet, both with phone lines as well as Wi-Fi.
Yeah. What's say I have an iPad too. You know, there any advantage that these have over what I have
Well,
right now?
in the iPad world, the Air is thinner, faster, newer operating system, although you can update the operating system on the 2 that you have. So they kind
Yeah.
of went right, this is supposed to be the 4, they went right by the 3 to 4. But it's all of those different things. The other thing that Apple did, really in response to the big success of initially the Kindle Fire, but then all the other 7-inch lower priced
Right.
tablets, was to bring out the iPad Mini, which is very successful as well. And that's the one that's about $300
Right.
or less. That is the 8-inch screen, because a lot of folks still find, you know, while iPads or the 10-inch, different 10-inch screens are really terrific, some people still find that a little too big for their everyday use, or especially if they travel a lot. They like one of these thinner, lighter ones that they can throw into a bag and take along.
Yeah. Is that a watch? Do you have a?
Right here,
Yeah.
this is actually the Scosche Rhythm Plus. This is an armband.
Okay.
So this would go on either your forearm or up on your arm. And this is a workout monitor. This will do both of your pulse and your heart rate while you're working out. Also, the Rhythm Plus version of this, it has an MP3 player built in. You synchronize all of these with your smartphone so that you can go ahead and keep track of your workout and so forth. So this one is an armband version of that. And then for wristbands, this is the Fitbit. This is the Fitbit Flex, much smaller. And this one, again, their app, this comes with an app, and the app is the most downloaded iPhone fitness app is the one for Fitbit. So you get that. I'm wearing one actually right here.
Okay.
And this is an activity and sleep monitor. So what you do is you get your app, and when you check out your Fitbit app, it will, with the Fitbit Flex, it'll tell you on your dashboard every day how many steps you've taken, how many miles you've gone, and then you put in, honestly, how many calories you've eaten.
Okay.
But this will tell me how many you've burned. I've been walking through airports a lot today, so
Right.
it says I've already walked 4.2 miles, so that's pretty good.
Wow.
And I'll be pretty, and it will keep track of all that. And again, if you want to put a program in there, say, okay, I'd like to lose 15 pounds. It'll say, okay, you want to be sensible about it, maybe a pound a week, and it'll give you the dates and all the rest of that kind of stuff.
Really?
So that's the Fitbit Flex. There's lots of these. That's one of the big trends, and we can talk about a few of those trends as we go along here. But at the Consumer Electronics Show, in addition to all the stuff in automobiles we talked about, in-vehicle electronics, two other overriding huge trends. One is wearable technology, which
Right.
these are, and another is something called the Internet of Things, or the Internet of Everything. You'll like that.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. Hey, if you've got a question, and Jim's here, and you know, don't waste his expertise. The numbers to call: 821 WTVN, 1-800-610 WTVN.